All right, I see Brock. I think he is on. I'm actually going to get started. It is exactly 8 o'clock, and we respect everybody's time. Brock, we respect your time and value it. So we are going to just kick this off. Welcome to this special training. My name is not David Atkins. It's actually Kristen Atkins. David and myself are the founders of Team Perseverance. He's actually going to be logging on from my daughter's softball game because such is parent life, right? We are all over the place. So I want to welcome you guys to this special training. We're lucky to have some of our fellow coach friends. Mike Ullman's on with his team. Jess Oliva's on with her team. And we have this really cool training set up for you guys with no other than Brock Johnson. And guys, if you know Shailene Johnson, which your Beachbody coaches, we should know all Shailene. Dave and I have been around for 10 years. So I started doing Turbo Fire and all of those programs. And throughout the years, we've done a lot of her courses, and she's always been the go-to for social media. She's always been, we always said about her, like, she's an amazing trainer, but she's also very business savvy. And we really always love that about her. And if you follow Brock on Instagram, you will see that the apple does not fall far from the tree. And he is the guru of all things Insta. So we're really, really excited to be on this call with him tonight and hear from him and learn from him. And I have to give mad props to my coach, Nicole Clark, who was the go-between and the coordinator for this call for us. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Nicole, who's going to give Brock a proper intro, and we're going to get this started. Go ahead, Nicole.
Awesome. On behalf of our team, Brock, thank you so much. We are so excited to have you here. I wanted to personally welcome the speaker because I've been following him for several months, and I've seen his progression of what he's been doing with Instagram and how he is promoting his own social media and how he's really absorbing all of the content and information that the experts that he speaks with. And he's really translating it to his audience and those that follow him. He's an awesome experience. He has awesome experience in business from a really young age, I've learned. I wanted to also obviously welcome him and his business. He is the co-founder with his mother, Shailene, of Insta Club Hub, where they translate all this information for you guys. So he's going to give us his best tips and tricks and show us some of the ways that we can grow our businesses and our social medias, specifically Instagram. And I just want to say a huge welcome and thank you so much, Brock, and we'll hand it off to you. Any questions, please, as you have them, maybe throw them in the chat and we'll try to navigate through those as well as everyone. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the introductions and thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you for being here tonight and for making the time for yourself, really, because this is a time that you've set aside to learn and to grow. When other people might be doing other things, even like Heather right now, she's doubling up. She's working out while watching this live training. So that's really, really impressive. So shout out to Heather. But tonight, we're going to be talking about what really matters on Instagram, because I'm sure you hear a million different things every single week. It seems like every other day you're hearing someone saying that there's a new algorithm and there's new changes and there's 14 different new strategies that you need to learn to grow on Instagram. So I want to cut through all of that noise tonight and simplify things for you and tell you exactly what you need to know and exactly what you need to be doing in order to grow on Instagram so that you can not waste your time and not put forth efforts for no reason, so that you can actually do what needs to get done and see noticeable changes on your Instagram account. I appreciate all of those introductions. I'll briefly reintroduce myself again. Brock Johnson is my name. Brock 11 Johnson is where you can find me on all socials. And I changed my Zoom username to Brock 11 Johnson. That's a little pro tip. Whenever you're on a Zoom, just change your username, your little Zoom handle to match your Instagram name. So that way you can be like, hey, follow me on Instagram. There's my handle right there. There's a little pro tip, and we're not even into the training yet. I'm a 24-year-old Instagram marketing expert. That's basically a made up title for what I do for a living. What I do for a living is not something that you can get certified for at university. You can't get a degree in this. But what I do is I help small business owners, network marketers like yourself, grow on Instagram in as little time as possible with as little effort as possible. Can I get an amen for that? Everything that I am teaching, though, everything I'm going to share with you tonight, every single statistic, every single strategy I share with you isn't just based off of, hey, I heard it on some podcast, or hey, I heard some YouTuber say that this is the new thing and I'm going to tell you. Everything I'm sharing with you tonight, and this is a promise, this is a guarantee, is based off of scientifically researched data. It's based off things that have been tested over and over and over and over again. We do have multiple memberships and courses and academies with thousands of entrepreneurs. And what that means is we can test, we can poll, we can run studies, we can collect data on thousands of entrepreneurs to figure out what is currently working on their accounts. And that is what I'm going to be reporting to you tonight. So I have some slides prepared, and I love note takers. If you're a note taker, if you're sitting in the front row and you got your notepad and I can see your eyes going up and down as you're taking notes, I love that so much. I also will save time at the end for Q&A. So if you ever have any questions, things that are related, unrelated, you want to know whatever, we'll get those answered at the end. I'll make sure to save time for Q&A. But let's hop over into those slides, shall we? Instagram growth in 2021. What really matters? By me, Brock 11 Johnson. You're welcome to follow me on all socials. Shameless plug. The reason I encourage you to follow me on Instagram is not just because I want more followers and because I want to pat my own stats, but simply because every single day I'm sharing something valuable over on IG. Every single day I'm posting at least one valuable tip or resource or anything like that that can help you out. If you're taking notes, please write this at the top of your notes right here. Write this at the top of your notes, staple it to your forehead, tattoo it on your arm, whatever you got to do, write this down. Instagram stories will not help you grow your following. We're on slide 3 and you might already be mind blown. Instagram stories will not help you grow your following. Please write that down. And it's important that you write that down because Christina, everything we're going to be talking about tonight is pertaining to the Instagram feed. Okay. Everything we talk about tonight is about the Instagram feed. So 45 minutes from now, I guarantee it, someone's going to ask, because it always happens. 45 minutes from now, someone's going to say, wait, Brock, are we talking about the feed or the stories right now? And I'm going to call you out and we're all going to laugh because you're going to be the person who wasn't listening right now, because everything we're talking about tonight is pertaining to the Instagram feed. We're only talking about the feed because the feed is how you grow. Stories, they have a use. There is a purpose for Instagram stories, but it's not for growth. And remember, the title of the training is Instagram growth. So if growth is what we want, the Instagram feed is where we're headed. I encourage you to also buckle your seatbelt. If you're driving, I hope you're already buckled in. There's going to be some turbulence tonight, but as we depart on this journey, as we start our flight, the fasten seatbelt sign is on. Let's start by talking about the 5 biggest mistakes that I see people making on Instagram. And really, these are the 5 biggest mistakes that I see network marketers making on Instagram. Those 5 biggest mistakes are, number 1, failing to niche down. And you can write these down, but don't even worry. We're going to go through each and every single one of them. We're going to go through them all, how to avoid them and how to actually do the opposite. Because I would be the worst coach ever if I was like, hey, here's the 5 biggest mistakes. That's it. Just don't do those. Of course, I'm going to tell you what to do as well. So failing to niche down. Second biggest mistake is inconsistency, not posting enough. The third biggest mistake, too much selling, or rather selling incorrectly. I'm going to give you a full tutorial at the end about selling. I'm going to talk to you about that, a really cool opportunity. Number 4, incorrect use of hashtags. There's some really exciting new changes that happened literally last week. Literally, I had to change these slides today because just last week there was a big overhaul, a big new change within hashtags. We ran tests on it for a few weeks and we just broke the news last week. There's new information about hashtags. You are the first group who I've ever told about this information. So incorrect use of hashtags, chances are you might be using them wrong. And number 5, posting interesting content. I put that in air quotes. So of course, we're going to talk about each of these. Let's start with number 1, right? It's always a good place to start. Let's start with number 1. Step 1 to growing on Instagram. This is definitely something to write down. Step 1 to growing on Instagram, pick a niche. Pick a niche. This is also step 1 to growing on YouTube. This is also step 1 to growing on TikTok. This is step 1 to growing on Twitter. This is step one to growing on whatever the next social media platform is that comes out 3 years from now. Step one to growing is to pick a niche. Now, I'm going to pull up this image. You might have seen this image before. This is from 60 Minutes, is what this screenshot is from. You might already know what this company is, but this company got its start in the smallest, most niche way possible. This company was an online used book reselling website. Can you think of anything more niche than that? Online used book reselling website. Like, that is as small as it gets. That's not even just like an online book website. Online used book reselling website. That's as specific as it gets. That's Amazon. That's where Amazon got its start. I'm in Seattle right now. That's where I live. I live in Seattle. There are over 150, that's not an exaggeration, over 150 Amazon buildings here downtown. They own 150 buildings here in the city of Seattle, and they got their start in the smallest niche you could ever think of: online used book resale. So if you're worried about narrowing down into your niche, if you're worried about picking that one thing to focus on, think about Amazon. Think about how a few years from now, you could be delivering packages in an hour or two via drone. Like, my groceries get delivered by Amazon. Most of the things in this room were delivered by Amazon, but they got their start in the most niche way possible. And really, a niche, and I understand that this word might be scary for some people. This word might be foreign to some people. But whether you say niche or niche, it's basically a focus. It's a subcategory. It's like an expertise, right? It's a sub focus. It's not like a big industry. It's a subcategory that you are focusing in on. So ultimately, what is it? What are the two things that make up your niche or niche on Instagram? I like to say niche, by the way. There is no right or wrong way. Niche or niche, they're both fine. Some people like to say niche because it rhymes with rich. The riches are in the niches, people like to say. But what is it? Ultimately, it's two things. It's a group of people and a problem to solve. That is what a niche is. So let's think about Amazon. Who is their group of people? Their group of people was people who were buying books online, readers. That was their group of people. And the problem that they were solving is that people wanted to buy books for cheap. They didn't want to go to the nearest Barnes and Noble and buy a $70 book. They wanted to buy books online that were slightly used for cheap. That was the problem that they solved. So a group of people and a problem to solve. You actually heard my niche earlier. You might not have caught it, but my niche is small business owners. That's you. And my problem that I solve is organic Instagram growth. Growing on Instagram without having to buy followers or do anything like that. So let's talk a little bit more about niche. And let me say before I go any further, this is step one to growing on Instagram, but you can still watch the rest of tonight's training even if you haven't picked your niche yet. Your anxiety might be, 10 out of 10 right now. It's okay to come back to this. It's okay to write this down and come back to it for homework. That's totally fine. If you don't have it picked out yet, go ahead and spend the weekend thinking about it. Go ahead and pray on it tonight, whatever you got to do. But picking your niche is step one, definitely, to growing on Instagram. But the rest of the training, I promise you can still hang out even if you haven't picked it yet. This is an analogy right here. This is an analogy that I like to use around niche and around picking your niche. And hopefully this helps you out a little bit. I like analogies a lot myself. They help me understand the world and make sense of it, because we're all going to remember an analogy and a story rather than a bunch of statistics. So date your niche. Date your niche. You're going to be dating your niche. What does that mean? What does it mean to date your niche? First of all, it means that there is no soulmate niche. You're just dating. You're not looking for a niche to marry for the rest of your life. You're just dating. There's no soulmate. There's no like one perfect niche for you out there. You're just dating. You're just dating your niche. There is no soulmate niche. Number two, you can only date one at a time. Trying to date two at a time, we all know that's not going to work out. 3, 4, 5, your 19 different interests and passions and hobbies, trying to date more than one at a time will not be successful. It won't. Just like dating, trying to date multiple at the same time, it's not going to work out. So you have to pick just one. And number 3, give it some time. You're dating, give it some time. I recently received a direct message from someone that said, Brock, I picked my niche. It's been 4 days and my Instagram account hasn't grown. Where are the new followers at? What am I doing wrong? And I said, what you're doing wrong is expecting results after 4 days. We don't go to the gym for a week and then look down and we're like, wait, why don't I look like Shaun T yet? That's not realistic. We understand the results take time. Progress and growth takes time. The same thing on Instagram. I'm going to teach you strategies tonight that can help you speed it up. I'm going to teach you the tips and the tricks to help you make this go a little bit faster, right? But ultimately, growth takes time. Progress takes patience. So give it some time. If you want me to give you like a specific number, then wait 90 days. Like if you're like, Brock, I need to put a date on my calendar, 3 months. Can you give it 3 months? And if not, if you're pushing back right now and you're like, Brock, I don't want to pick my one thing. I don't want to date my one niche. I'm happy with talking to my 19 different things. Then my question for you would be, how's that been going so far? If it's been going well, if it's been successful for you, talking about your 19 different interests and passions and hobbies, then keep going with that. But I'm here to tell you what we see working. Generally speaking, this is the case. And then my final note about niche and dating your niche is that you're just dating and you can always break up. If after 2 or 3 months, you're like, this isn't right for me. I'm not really feeling it. My family and friends, they're saying this isn't right for me. I'm not loving this as much anymore. You can always break up, reevaluate, and pick a new niche. You want to know what I got my start in? Like right now, I'm doing Instagram marketing for small business owners. My start, you might laugh at this, was in helping moms keep their kids safe on Snapchat. Helping moms keep their kids. That was my original business. That was my original niche. That was what I was originally posting about on Instagram. Your niche will evolve and change. So will you. Just like dating, you will evolve and change. And it's totally fine to break up and to pick a new niche. That's totally okay, but give it some time first. All right, so there are those 2 things that I brought up earlier about niche. Remember, it's the group of people and the problem. Let's tie it back to Instagram now, because I said step 1 to growing, but how does it specifically relate to Instagram? Here is how it specifically relates, and I want you to write this sentence down. Take a screenshot or write this sentence down. This is a Mad Lib that's not very funny. I help specific group of people with specific problem. Remember earlier I told you the group of people and the problem you solve. This is the sentence. This is like your niche statement. That's the kind of term I've coined for this sentence. Your niche statement. I help who with what? Really? I help small business owners with organic Instagram growth. And this goes in the first line of your Instagram bio. So write that down as well. This goes in the very first line of your Instagram bio. I'll give you a second to write that down. And here are some examples. This is Alexis. She is a Beachbody coach herself. I'm going to check on her profile right now to tell you how many followers she's currently at. She's at 33.5. So I took this screenshot a few weeks ago when she was at 29,000. She's currently at 33.5K. She's one of our Insta Club Hub members. She's continuing to grow her Instagram account. And again, and I'll see if we can make sure we get everyone.
Move it.
Good. We'll get that taken care of. No worries, Mary. Muted. There we go. All right, Mary's muted. No worries, Mary. All right. So Alexis, 29,000. This was a few weeks ago. She's now over 33,000. So she's grown by over 3,000 followers in the last few weeks. And really, she's grown by about 30,000 followers probably in the last few months. Because I didn't take a screenshot of her profile a few months ago, but a few months ago, she was only at a couple thousand, and now she's at over 30,000. And her niche statement is, I help women, that's her group, identify and remove what's blocking them from following through on their goals. Awesome. Next, this is my mom. I help the easily distracted. That's her group. She doesn't say women or men, but she narrows it down to a specific group. Easily distracted. She has ADHD herself, so she speaks a lot to that audience. I hope the easily distracted get focused and build a business. Beth Isbell, I help busy mamas, so not just mamas, but busy mamas, which I think is all mamas, but busy mamas, cultivate confidence by mastering their mindset and finding freedom in fitness. So you're seeing the group of people and the problem that they solve. And this works on Facebook too. This is Fraser Brooks. He's a top trainer for network marketers. And what he says is on a mission. So you got kind of fun with that first part, on a mission to help network marketers, that's the people, that's the group, set their business on fire using social media. And that's the problem that he solves. So again, this niche statement, this is the first line of your Instagram bio. Fitness is an industry. Fitness is not a niche. Fitness is an industry. Think about how many different niches there are within fitness. One of our Insta Club Hub members helps postpartum Nigerian moms lose baby fat, like lose the fat after baby. That's a really specific niche. Postpartum Nigerian moms, that's a tiny group of people. But when you get that specific, everything else on Instagram starts to make sense because you know who you're talking to. And when those people show up on your profile, they know that they should follow you. They know that you're right for them. If let's say while I was talking about this, you were like, okay, I think my group of people is women. That's a great first step, but that's not your last step. Women is a great first step, but that's not your last step because that's 4 billion people. That's half the planet. You cannot effectively serve half the planet. Oprah Winfrey, Mother Teresa, and my mom combined couldn't serve half the planet. It's just not realistic to serve that many people. You're not going to be able to connect with half the planet. Women, that's half the planet. Let's get more specific. What are their demographics? Are they over 40? Are they single moms? Are they military spouses? Are they just out of college? Are they in their 20s? Are they easily distracted? Do they have some sort of disability? Do they have some sort of chronic illness? What is this group? Get specific with them. Do they have 2 kids? Do they have 8 kids? Do they have 1 kid? Are they postpartum? What is this demographic? And then what's the problem you solve? Get fit is not a problem to solve. It's too broad. Because get fit to you probably means something different than get fit to me. And it probably means something different to every single person. So what does that specific problem, what's that specific problem for your group of people? Is it lose the baby fat after their 3rd kid? What is that specific group of people? I mean, we read some of them earlier. Remove what's blocking them from following through on their goals. Some people might like to say, oh, the problem that I solve is I help you live your best life. What the heck does that mean? Let's get really specific, right? Another example, the one that my mom gave. Get focused and build a business. Get really specific. Mastering their mindset and finding freedom. Get really specific in that niche when you're picking that niche. And I understand this is big picture. I understand that this is tough, but it's step 1 to growing. Without question, picking your niche is step 1 to growing on Instagram. Now, once you pick that niche, the majority of your feed posts should be related to your niche. The vast majority, 90%, 95%, 99%, shoot, 100% of your feed posts should be related to your niche. Because gone are the days of following people on Instagram because you just love the pictures that they post of their breakfast and their sweaty workout selfies and their new shake that they love and their kid on the first day of school and them out to dinner with their friends and them going skiing and their favorite glass of wine. And then a picture of them watching The Bachelor. And then, oh my gosh, look what their dog did. And then them on vacation. We don't care. You follow people for a reason. You follow people for their niche. We have a good friend who's an Insta Club Hub member. His Instagram is Octo Nation. He's the world's biggest octopus fan club. People follow him because they're into octopuses. He has over 200,000 followers. 200,000 followers following an octopus fan club. What if he started posting about sharks? He started posting about starfish and seahorses. Everyone would be like, what? That's not why I follow Octonation. Everyone would unfollow. His engagement would do terrible. He would get no likes because everyone's like, I follow this person for octopuses. You start posting about everything else, it confuses his followers, it confuses the algorithm, he loses followers, he loses engagement. So the vast majority of your feed posts should be about your niche. Now, of course, like, listen, there's always going to be those exceptions. There's always going to be those special holidays, graduations. There's always going to be special, happy 40th anniversary. Like, there's always going to be reasons to post to your feed that aren't necessarily related to your niche, but you should try to stick to that niche. You ready to breathe a breath of fresh air? Ready to take a deep breath? Because I know what's going through your head right now. Brock, how do I only talk about one thing if I have all these different interests and passions? Listen, I have a bunch of different interests and passions and hobbies myself. I have 50 million different interests and passions and hobbies. Those go on your Instagram stories. So this is the one time that we are going to talk about stories tonight. Your Instagram stories do not have to be niche focused. Your Instagram stories can be anything and everything. And that's because your Instagram stories are the people who are already following you and they want to go a little bit deeper. They want to form connections with you. They want to get to know you a little bit more. They want to know what makes you tick. So they do that by seeing all those different areas of your life. Like on my stories, I post about sushi and I post about Netflix and I post about my dogs and I post about snowboarding and I post about traveling and I post like everything. I post pictures of me and my fiance. I post everything on my stories. I'm resharing stuff, mental health stuff. It all goes on stories. Stories is for anything and everything. So go ahead. You absolutely love crocheting, but it has nothing to do with your niche, then go ahead and share that on your Instagram stories. So let your audience like get to know you a little bit better. That's what your stories are for. So let your freak flag fly on your stories. Stories don't have to be niche focused. That's for your feed. All right, we're done. I'm done beating you over the head with the word niche. Let's talk growth, the sexy stuff. Why you're here, right? Like how do you grow your following? That's why you're here ultimately. And I think that you could argue that my job as an Instagram coach, you could argue that it got a little bit easier this year. You could also argue it got a little bit harder. Ultimately, though, it just got a lot simpler because there's nothing better for growth on Instagram than Reels. There's nothing better than Reels. Absolutely nothing better. If you did nothing else right, but you just posted a bunch of Reels, eventually one of them is going to go viral and eventually one of them is going to grow your following. But there's nothing better than Reels. Here's some stats. First, I'll give you my stats and then I'll give you other people's stats. Ready for these? In the last 30 days, I have 12.2 million views, 40,000 followers, and over 5,000 new leads or customers or emails on my email list. That's in the last 30 days. In the last 75 days, it's like 18 million views, 71,000 followers. I've pretty much doubled my following in the last 2 months, and over 6,000 new leads and customers. That's just from Reels. I've posted almost nothing but Reels for the last 2 months or so. Here's some other people, right? Because like, sure, it could be just me. The number you're going to see on the left, that's the number of views that they got on their most popular reel, and then how many followers they got from it. So Hargrave's Bookery, which is, I think, a bookstore, they got 6.6 thousand views, or 66,000 views, excuse me, 66,000 views on their most viewed video, and they got 700 followers from it. Here's another one. 800,000 views, 11,000 followers. 4.5 million views. You're going to hear from Sharice later. And she was at 1,200 followers. She's now at 13,000. So she more than 10x. Look, I mean, we could keep going through this. Look at all these. Look at that last one. 16.5 million views on one video and around 13,000 followers. And this was all in the last few months before Instagram made their big announcement last week. And let me know in the chat, let me know right now if you heard, or maybe you didn't even hear the exact news, but you heard that there was some Instagram news this week. Like you heard that there was some big changes, some big announcements on Instagram, and people are freaking out about it. I've heard it all over the news. I've seen a bunch of news headlines that said, this is the end of Instagram. Instagram is going down. I literally saw a headline that said, Instagram is trying to destroy themselves. That's what the headline said. Instagram's big new announcement, you want to know what this news basically was? Instagram's big new announcement, their big shift on the platform, is something that's already been going on, and it's been going on for years. They're prioritizing video. Technically, the exact quote was, and this is an exact quote from the head of Instagram. He said, "We are no longer just a photo sharing app." And everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is the downfall of Instagram. Instagram's been not just a photo sharing app since 2012. In 2012, Instagram started letting you post videos. Ever since then, Instagram has been more than just a photo sharing app. And guess what? Guess what Instagram's found over the last 8 or 9 years since they introduced video? Videos do well. That's what they've learned. They've learned that the more you post videos, the more your audience pays attention. They've learned that people stare at videos and watch videos way longer than they look at pictures. And that makes sense, right? Because a picture is just a single picture and a video plays. It's multiple seconds long. Video is king. And right now, Reels are the king of video. So Reels are the king of kings. Reels are how you grow on Instagram. I'm going to try to make it very simple for you right now and give you my top 3 tips for Reels. Trying to make it very simple and very straightforward, because I know that might feel overwhelming. I know you're going to be new to them, and that's okay. No one's good at something when they first started. Nobody's good when they first get started. So just get started. That's really the ultimate tip. Like before I even share these tips with you, just get started with your Reels. Just get started. I don't care if they look crappy. I don't care if you don't know how to like make the text pop up. I don't care if you don't have to lip sync at all. You don't have to do any fancy dancing. You don't have to like walk around in a Speedo and twerk like Shanti. Like you don't have to do any of that stuff. Just get started with your Reels. And here are my top 3 tips for them to make them a little bit better. Number 1, keep them short. They don't need to be long. They can be 30 seconds long, just so you know, they can be 30 seconds long, but the ideal length, write this in the chat. So in case anyone's sleeping and they just see a bunch of this one number flying through the chat, they'll wake up. The ideal length for a reel is about 7 seconds long. So 7 seconds, that's the number. That's short. 7 seconds. Fun fact, the human attention span is about 7 seconds long. So it makes sense, right? The average viral reel, the average reel that reaches millions of people is 7 seconds long. 7 seconds. Can you make a 7-second video to skyrocket your engagement and your following and your leads and your team members? 7 seconds. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to go have a photo shoot and like have this fancy edited photo and learn copywriting and learn graphic design. Like Melissa, 7 seconds. That's it. 7 seconds. That's all it takes to go viral with Reels. That's all it takes to create a really powerful reel. Make them trendy. Now, again, these are just my top tips. You don't have to do these. But if you're using a popular sound, a trending song, you know, those videos, like you see like everyone kind of doing the same version or the same video, just different versions. That's a good sign that it's trending. Another good way to find trends is to go look at TikTok. And then number 3, be relatable. That was another thing that I found from my 5 most viral videos. 4 out of the 5 were relatable. They were just relatable content. They weren't like super trendy. They weren't, like I wasn't teaching something amazingly mind-blowing. I wasn't sharing some crazy hack or some new insight. They were just relatable. One of our Insta Club Hub members, she got a couple million views on one of her reels. And all it was she was talking about the difference between a firstborn child and a secondborn child. She was talking about like their different personalities. It was relatable because anyone who's a part of a 2-child family can relate, because there's a firstborn child and there's a secondborn child. It was just relatable. It was simple. It was like it was like, I think it was like 15 seconds long. Super relatable. So keep them short, keep them trendy, and keep them relatable. Keep them relatable. All right. The other new big news announcement from Instagram this week is about hashtags. And this is also a sigh of relief. But before I even show you what the new alert is from Instagram, what the new change is, let me just say this, that the reason you want to use hashtags is more hashtags equal more engagement. Hashtags equal engagement. Posts with at least one hashtag get 12% more engagement. Pretty cool, right? Like, wouldn't you like 12% more engagement from using one hashtag? Absolutely. So my top tips for hashtags. Number one, this is the big change. You only want to use 8 to 15 hashtags. That's the news. In the past, you were supposed to use 30. And I used to tell people for months, for years, use 30. I myself, for months and years, used 30. And people were like, oh my gosh, that's so many. 30 hashtags. Like, I can't even think of 30 hashtags. Now, I use like 8. Less is more. And the reason for this, like, we don't have to get too far into how all of this works, but the reason for this is basically you don't confuse the algorithm. When you use 30, it's confusing for the algorithm because the algorithm is like, whoa, I got 30 different hashtags to look at. I don't know where this person fits in. I don't know where to put them. When you use 8, you make it really simple. Make it really simple. So 8 hashtags. That's the new top tip. It was reported originally a few weeks ago by a good friend of mine named Lucas. He had a private conversation with Instagram in which they told him this. And then we ran tests for about 2 or 3 weeks on a bunch of different accounts in a bunch of different industries. And we finally started to see results after years of kind of going stale with hashtags. 8 to 15. That's how many you want to use. Next top tip. Put them in the comments section and not in the caption. Comments section and not in the caption. The reason for this is just that it looks better. Plain and simple, aesthetics, it looks better. It looks better. It's not going to perform differently. Whether you put your hashtags, whether you type them out in the caption or you put them down in the comments, it's not going to make a difference in terms of performance, but it just looks better. People care about the top half, right? Like when you're looking at Instagram, don't you like, you look at the post and you read the caption, but you're not oftentimes like scrolling through every single comment. You don't even really see most of the comments, right? You care about the top half. Just like right now on this Zoom, you care about the top half. You have no idea what's going on down below. Like you have no idea if I'm wearing jeans or if I'm wearing like a kilt. You don't know if I'm wearing a skirt. You don't know if I'm wearing my Crocs right now. You don't know if I'm wearing my hiking boots. Like you don't know what's going on in the lower half, but you also don't really care. You care about the top half. You care about what you see. And Instagram the same way. People care about what they see, which is like the caption and the actual post itself. So that's why I like to say, just comment your hashtags. Comment your hashtags on your own post. Put them in the comments. Number 3 out of 5, hashtags need to be immediately after posting, as soon as possible. So if you were running back to your post from this morning right now to go add your hashtags, Megan, I'm sorry, it's too late. It's got to be ASAP. The sooner the better. After you post, you should comment those hashtags. Number 4, your hashtags should be niche. There's that word again, niched, focused. Niche and focused hashtags. So what this means is hashtag fitness is a waste of your time. Remember, that's not a niche, that's an industry. Hashtag wellness, that's an industry, not your niche. Hashtag marketing, industry. Hashtag beauty, hashtag makeup. Those are industries. That's not a niche. A niche is specific. So for me, I wouldn't use hashtag marketing. I would not use hashtag business. I would not use hashtag entrepreneur. I would use hashtag Instagram growth tips. Hashtag Instagram growth for businesses. Really specific, really focused in with those hashtags. And luckily, good news, you only have to use 8 to 15. Gone are the days of having to use 30, 8 to 15. Now, I would recommend creating some pre-made lists, right? Like, because that'll save you time. That way, when you post, You don't have to like think about what are the 5 words, what are the eight hashtags that relate. Like create some pre-made lists and save them in your notes. That'll help you save time. Pre-made lists and save them in your notes. And then my pro tip for you, ready for the pro tip? This might blow some people's minds. Create text shortcuts for your hashtag lists. If you have no idea what this means, just take a screenshot of this right now. Take a screenshot or write this down. Take a screenshot or write this down and GTS, Google that stuff. Google that stuff. Google text shortcuts iPhone, text shortcuts Samsung Galaxy Note 7 or whatever that phone's called. Just Google how to do text shortcuts, but I'll show you right now what it is. So when I post on Instagram, I don't have to type in any hashtags. I can just type H3 or H2 or H1. Right here is H4. So all I have to do is type in H4, and then as soon as I hit the space bar, boom, there's my group of hashtags. I can do it with, let's do, here, I'll do another one for you. Let's do H2. There's H2. Set this up in your phone settings. I hit space, boom, hashtags. Saves you so much time, right? Because then you don't have to type them out. You don't have to like go to your notes app. You don't have to copy and paste them. Huge time saver. Text shortcuts. You can create text shortcuts for comments. You can create text shortcuts for anything you want. Text shortcuts are powerful, and they're seriously going to save you a lot of time on Instagram. Fasten seatbelt sign is still on. There is turbulence headed our way. Fasten seatbelt sign is still on. What I'm about to talk to you about makes me not very popular within the Instagram coach community, because most Instagram coaches aren't saying this. They're not telling you this. Because most Instagram coaches come from one of two backgrounds. They either come from a graphic design background where they're really into aesthetics and layout and design and typography and colors. My sister's a graphic designer. Or they come from a background of like photography, where they also really care about aesthetics and beautiful photos and HD photo shoots and professional cameras and ring lights. So either way, most Instagram experts don't like me when I say what I'm about to say, but this is absolutely the truth. And I can say it with confidence that this is the truth because we've researched this. We've tested this. We've polled thousands of people to know that it's time to forget the aesthetics. Forget the aesthetics. The pretty filters, the checkerboard layout grid, the beautiful profile where you got like this pink glowing hue on all of your photos, the Mother's Day photo shoot where you're like laying on a bed with like white fluff all around, like your kids are laying there and they're all smiling. Like, listen, we all went through the year 2020. Our BS meter, our BS radar is super dialed in. So when I'm showing up on Instagram, I'm not looking for who's the most perfect photo today, who's got the most amazing life. Like, listen, Sean T exists. None of us can compete with that. 2 gorgeous babies, gorgeous husband. He looks gorgeous himself. He can dance his tail off. Like, none of us can compete with that. So we should stop trying to. Forget the Instagram aesthetic. It doesn't help you grow on Instagram. The Instagram aesthetic does not help you grow. People aren't looking for a pretty checkerboard grid anymore. People aren't like, it doesn't look authentic. It looks inauthentic. It used to look professional and cool and well done. And it used to be like, oh, this person's got their stuff together. Now what it looks like is this person's lying to me. They're inauthentic. They pre-planned all their posts and automated them. I'm not going to follow this person. They're not in the real world like the rest of us. What matters on Instagram is the value that you provide. The value that you provide. The service that you can provide, serving other people. I want to give you an analogy really quickly. If you're not driving, please close your eyes. I saw some, I think it was Heather earlier. She was working out. Heather, you don't have to close your eyes. You're still working out. But if you're driving, don't close them. Everyone else, you can close your eyes if you want. Here's this analogy though. Imagine you're sitting in your house and you hear a knock at your front door. not opportunity knocking. I'm not that cheesy, but you hear a knock at your front door and you go to answer it and you answer the door. And the person is handing you a $20 bill. And then they come back later, a few hours later that day, and they hand you a $100 bill. And they come back a few hours later and they're giving you keys to a new car. And they come back a few hours later and they're teaching you a really important lesson. And then they come back a few hours later and they're handing you a diamond ring. And they come back a few hours later and they're giving you something else valuable. And they're giving you a Bitcoin. And then they're giving you a deed to their house. They're giving you this value. And then they're teaching you this. And then they're inspiring you. They're giving you something of value every single time you open the door. Would you open the door every time? Yes or no? And please let me know in the chat. Like, would you open, like realistically, would you open the door every single time if whenever you opened it, they were handing you something of value? Of course. Like Heather said, of course you're opening it, right? Because you're getting something valuable. Now, did you care how the person looked? Did you care about how aesthetically pleasing they were? Did you care about their race or their ethnicity? Did you care if they had 10 more pounds to lose? Did you care if they had their stuff put together? Did you care if their house looked messy in the background? No, you didn't. That's my point. We don't care about the aesthetics anymore. We don't care about how you look. We don't care about how perfect and photoshopped and pretty your life is. What we care about is how much value you can give us. The same thing with Instagram. So every single Instagram post, your goal should be to provide value, to teach, to educate, to inspire. That should be your goal with every single feed post. I'm sorry for going on a quick little rant, but I appreciate you listening. And listen, the fasten seatbelt sign is still on because this is a scary topic too. And I promise we're going to be landing the plane soon. This plane is going to be landing soon. But for right now, the fasten seatbelt sign is still on. We got a few minutes left in this flight. How much should you post on Instagram? Well, if you're posting less than 4 times a week, you're losing followers. And you probably already know this is true. If you're posting every once in a while, whenever you feel like it, you're losing followers. If you're posting 4 or 5 times a week, you're probably in that maintenance phase, like +1, -2, +3, -4. If you're posting daily to your feed, remember, talking about the feed, not the stories, the feed. If you're posting 7 to 10 per week, slow growth. For ideal maximum growth, don't punch a hole through your laptop. For ideal maximum growth, 14 to 21 per week. 2 to 3 posts per day to your feed. 2 to 3 posts to your feed per day. And that's because the more you post, the more you grow. There's a lot of people on Instagram, and there's a lot of people making a lot of posts on Instagram. So if you only post a few times a week, or even if you only post once a day, you're just not going to be seen. Your posts aren't going to show up. You're never going to be discovered. 2 to 3. And yes, David, yes, the name popped up as David Atkins, of course. Reels do count. Reels do count as a post. Reels do count as a post because reels are shared to your feed. So 2 to 3 posts per week, per day, not per week. And the reason for that is, think about it this way. We have one person over here. Let's call him Adam. Adam, person A, Adam. Adam is rarely on Instagram. Adam's on Instagram for like maybe 30 minutes a day. Adam is only seeing a few posts because he's only on Instagram for a short amount of time. He's only seeing the top of the top, the cream of the crop. He's only seeing the best posts. Well, if you haven't posted in a few days, there's no chance Adam's going to see your post because there's thousands of other people who have posted since then. Adam's not going to see your post. You haven't posted enough. If you're posting 2 or 3 times a day, Adam, who's only on Instagram for 15 or 20 minutes every night, he's a lot more likely to see your post. Now let's talk about Becky, person B, Becky. Becky's on Instagram all day long. Becky's on Instagram for hours and hours and hours. Becky is seeing thousands and thousands of posts every single day because she's on Instagram all day long. She's obsessed with IG. She's on Instagram all day long. If you post only a few times per week, you're white noise to Becky. She's got no clue you even exist. Out of sight, out of mind. So you need to post that much to either show up on Adam's feed or to make sure that you're relevant on Becky's feed. So hopefully that helps you make a little bit more sense of why you need to be posting more. Why you need to be posting more. Now, I know how this makes you feel. I know you're like, Brock, you're a liar because you told me that you would make things simpler and you would make me have to spend less time on Instagram, but now you're saying 2 to 3 posts per day. That is crazy. I know how that makes you feel, but there is a solution. There is a solution. I promise you I was going to bring it back. There's a solution. It's called featured content. This is something that I've never heard anyone else teach about besides my mom and myself. Featured content. What is featured content? Because I know right now just that word featured content, like it means nothing to you. So let me define it. Featured content. Please write this down. Popular posts, underline it, from other accounts that you feature on your own account. Popular posts from other accounts that you feature on your own account. So some synonyms, you might have thought of these just now: reposts, reshares, regrams, taking something from someone else's feed and sharing it to your own feed. Sharing it to your own feed. In just a second, I'll explain to you like why this is so beneficial. Like, and maybe you already have figured it out, but I'll give you all of that and I'll answer all your questions. But first, let me show you some case studies. Let me show you some actual data, because I know you might be like, okay, yeah, that's great, but that's not for me. Does that really work? Yes. So here on the left, Push Me Daily with about 100,000 followers. Home workouts for you. So in the workout niche, the fitness industry, 500,000 followers. Marketing Impact Academy, 50,000 followers. These are some of the accounts that we run. This next slide is how many of these posts that you're seeing are reposts, are featured content. Ready for this? Ready? Everything you see in green is a repost. Everything you see in green, featured content. Featured content. That means, and to be totally honest and transparent with you, my mom and I manage these accounts, but they're run by virtual assistants. So we don't have to do any work to grow these accounts. Like, wouldn't you love to have home workouts for you? A page where all of the followers, 500,000 people, are following it because they want home workout ideas. And yet you don't ever have to make a single piece of content. In fact, you could hire someone to run the account for you, and then you wouldn't even have to do a thing. That's the beauty of featured content. You're able to highlight someone else. I'm not saying to steal their content. Absolutely not. You're giving them credit. And there's plenty of repost apps, and we teach you in depth on how to do this in the Insta Club Hub, but there's plenty of repost apps. You give them credit. You make it clear, like, this is someone else's post. This is someone else's original content, and I'm sharing it for the world to see. I'm like, this is awesome. Check this out. So it helps someone else out. It helps you out because now you're putting that awesome content on your page. People are like, oh yeah, you got to follow Cheryl because she always posts the best breastfeeding tips, whatever it is. Oh my gosh, you gotta follow Taylor. You gotta follow Taylor. She's always posting the best mental health advice for young women. You gotta check out her page. You don't care if she's the person who is originally creating all of this content. The bottom line is that all of the content is on her profile. So it saves you time. It saves you headache. You don't have to come up with the posts. Like, I'm sure figuring out what to post is a challenge. I know that's a challenge. Brock, what do I post on Instagram? You don't have to figure it out anymore. You can feature other people's content. You can highlight other people's content. Christina asked, should featured content also be from your niche? Absolutely, because the vast majority of your content, like I said, on your feed should be related to your niche. So it doesn't make sense for me as an Instagram marketer. Like, why I wouldn't feature someone who made a great post about top tips for getting into your dream college. It has nothing to do with my niche. My followers would be like, what the heck is this? You're featuring content related to your niche. You're featuring the top popular posts related to your niche. Now, How much should you be doing this? How much should you be doing this? If you have less than 10,000 followers, 80% of the time. 80% of the time. That's what we recommend. This shouldn't be that surprising because you saw this page, you saw this slide, you saw the results. What stands out to me is home workouts for you. 500,000 followers, 100% reposts. What we recommend is that if you have less than 10,000 followers, 80% of your content. Now, if you have more than 10,000, go ahead and you can adjust those sliding scales. Like I said, we have I think we've done 2 or 3 long advanced trainings in the Insta Club Hub on how to find the featured content, how to actually repost it or feature it, how to create entire accounts that are just what we like to call feature accounts. So we cover all of that in length there. But we're landing this plane right here. This is where we're landing the plane. I need to show you this graphic. And please let me know. Got my eye on the chat. Let me know if you've seen this before. Let me know if you've seen this graphic before. And while you answer that, I'll read it to you. It says, Instagram's new algorithm to show maximum support for a post or content creators and how to quote unquote fix shadow ban. All right. What this post says is the most important and the new like button, that's what this graphic is claiming, is a save. That's the save icon. That's what they're saying. They're saying that the most important thing is a save and then a share and then comments, and that likes are less important. Nicole said she's seen it a lot. Nicole, send me the names of whoever's been posting this. Nicole, please send me their handle. Go ahead and direct message me their names on Instagram, because this is not true. It's not true. And I'm glad I saw some head nods, because you understand this is not true. Maybe you've been following me already and you know, because I've talked about this before. This is not true. This is not true. This is a graphic that went viral. I'll give you the quick history of it. There was a blog post in 2018 that someone found in 2020, and they created this little graphic from it. And then this graphic went viral because people were sharing it. It went viral not because a bunch of people saved it, but because everyone was sharing it. So this graphic basically proved itself wrong by going viral. But this graphic was saying that saves are the best form of content. It went viral, and like Nicole said, she's been seeing it a lot. So what that tells me is now, even months later, and I've been spending months telling people to avoid this and report this graphic because it's not true, it's false information, it's leading people astray. Months later, there's still people teaching this. There's still people if you're not hearing the sound of my voice right now, there's people who aren't on this call who are still believing this. There are people who don't have access to the knowledge that you have, who are still being led astray by Instagram experts, and I put that in air quotes, who don't do their research, who don't run case studies, who don't poll their audience, and who don't track the numbers to find out what is actually true. It didn't take long for us to figure out that this graphic that was going viral, it's not true. It's not true. But my point is, and I say all this to just say, if you weren't on this training tonight, you might not know that. You might have continued to go through your Instagram life thinking that saves were the most important thing. So, in my opinion, and what I like to say is you have 2 options. You can become that expert yourself. You can do what I do for a living and study Instagram and study the algorithm all day and listen to 14 different Instagram podcasts on a daily basis. Or you can just let me tell you what to do. And that, of course, always sounds a lot more fun. Just tell me what to do. Just, give me the workout guide. Tell me the meal plan. Tell me what to eat. I'll just do it. It's always a lot easier that way. So just let the experts do it for you. And so I say all of this to just tell you, and I want to invite you to this offer, is the Insta Club Hub. I've mentioned it a few times tonight. The Insta Club Hub is my mom and myself's Instagram membership coaching platform. Before I even get too into the details of it, which I can tell you more in a second, I just wanted to show you this really quickly because we've never done this before. But tomorrow, literally tomorrow at 2 p.m., we're doing a live training called How to Sell on Instagram. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific, if you want to write it down. And you can attend that for $7. $7 if you want to attend that live training. And you can just visit iglivetraining.com. I'd love if someone could put that in the chat as well. That would be really appreciated. But $7 to attend a live training with my mom and myself on how to sell on Instagram. And it's not one of those live trainings where it's like a webinar and you're going to be sold to at the end. We will not be selling ourselves. We're going to show you how to sell. We're going to give you templates on how to sell, but we will not be, promoting some other offer at the end. We're not going to be upselling you to some other course or training. $7. And if you can't watch it live, you can watch the replay. You can watch the recording. That $7 also gets you a 2-week trial to the Insta Club Hub. $7 for a 2-week trial. What is the Insta Club Hub? I'll quickly tell you, and then we'll jump to Q&A really quickly. My fiance is making tacos in our kitchen, and it smells amazing. So my stomach's growling, but I'll try to go fast with what the Insta Club Hub is, and we can do some Q&A. Insta Club Hub, 2 live trainings every single month. So just like the one you watched tonight, just like the one's taking place tomorrow at 2 p.m., 2 live trainings every single month. At the end of those live trainings, we always do a live Q&A with my mom and myself. You also get access to every single live training we've done in the past. So for $7, you get a 2-week trial to every single live training we've done over the last 8 months. That's pretty crazy. I don't know why we approved this. You also get access to all of our on-demand training. So if you want to learn how the heck do I use Reels? How do I make the text pop up? How do I do those captions that Brock is doing? So when he's speaking, there's text popping up here. You can watch tutorial videos, lesson videos that are super quick. They're 5 minutes long. In fact, I just recorded a few more today where literally the camera is over my shoulder and you get to just watch me on my phone and get exactly how to do it. So you can follow along on your phone. There's also a Q&A section. So if you ever have any Instagram questions, you don't have to just DM someone and hope they answer you. You don't have to just attend a live training and fingers crossed that your question gets spotted. There's a Q&A section for that. And there's a referrals section, which is really cool. So if any one of your team members joins, you get next month free. So if you join with the $7 trial, and then you get your referral link and one of your team members joins the Insta Club Hub, well, then guess what? You get next month free in the Insta Club Hub. So again, that's the link is iglivetraining.com if you want to hop on that, if you want to hang out with us tomorrow. But I'd love to open it up for some questions. Is that cool? We got a couple more minutes for that. Definitely want to honor everyone's time.
Amazing. So we're in a few group chats. Everybody's like, oh my God, this is amazing. So many nuggets. I took pages and pages of notes. Definitely, guys, definitely want to look into the Insta Club Hub and just get more of everything that he has to offer. And Shailene, I know we had questions popping up in the chat, and we might have to scroll back a little bit to kind of find them, but and we're not going to take much more of your time because it's taco night, and we all value taco night, so we get it.
Absolutely. I think, I think I scrolled back. I found a question from Lindsay, really great question when we were talking about niche at the beginning. She was saying can your niche be different than your job? And yes, it can. Absolutely. So she said specifically, for example, if we're into health and fitness, can my niche be around being an introvert or kind of relatable mom moments? Can that be my niche? And yes, it absolutely can be, as long as it's still related in some way. Right. So your niche probably shouldn't be helping moms learn to homeschool their kids and then your business is fitness, because that's a little bit too far apart. But if there's a way that they can be similar enough, they don't have to be the exact same. So if your industry is fitness, of course, like I said earlier, there's a million different niches in there. So maybe your industry is fitness, but your niche is helping introverted women feel more comfortable going to the gym, helping introverted women feel more comfortable making gym friends. That way it's still related to something that maybe you really identify with, which is being introverted and making friends at the gym. Maybe that's something that you've learned to overcome, but it's still in some way related to your job, quote unquote, or what you do or what you sell, which is health and fitness. So great question. Hopefully that helps out a little bit.
And then we had another question that said, how do you feel about more than one reel per day in your posting?
I posted 2 today myself. I recommend, yeah, absolutely. If you can do 2 a day, that's awesome. I challenged my followers to do 30 reels in 30 days. And then I myself did about 47 reels in 30 days. So most, probably every other day I was posting 2 reels every day. Pro tip for your reels, post them at the same time every day. With the new alert from Instagram, that's a new change. Instagram, that insider conversation that we had, you want to post them at the same time. It helps train the algorithm so the algorithm knows when to push out your content. So if you can, post them at the same time every day.
I like that. Somebody else asked, for reposting, should we keep our comments sweet and simple, or is long okay?
It really varies. Sometimes you're going to go to repost someone, you're going to go to feature their content, and they're going to have a short little caption, short and sweet, and you're like, I love it. Sometimes it's going to be long, and you're like, all right, yeah, that's fine. It still relates. Sometimes they might type a caption that like it makes no sense when you repost it. Like it's like maybe their caption on their posted like, go watch my stories to get more information. Well, it doesn't make any sense to keep that caption because it's not their post, like it's not on their feed. So your followers will be like, wait, whose stories do we watch? And then also you're reposting it after those stories have expired. So like it doesn't make any sense. So ultimately just read the caption and know and think about like, does this make sense when it's on my feed, or should I type my own caption, or is it fine to leave their original caption? But ultimately, it doesn't make too much of a difference.
Right, awesome. And we're going to wrap up because again, we value your time. Does the number of followers and the number of people follow ratio matter? Should you follow less than following you, or vice versa?
Yeah, the only time you want to be following more people than who are following you is when you're first getting started. Because when you're first getting started, of course, it's like impossible to suddenly have thousands of followers but not be following anyone. So when you're first getting started, it's okay. But when you're really trying to grow after those first maybe 30 days on Instagram, you don't want to be following more people than who are following you, because that's a red flag. Because when I show up on your profile, like let's think about ourselves as leaders, right? If I show up on your profile and you're like, I'm a leader, and I look and it's like, well, you're following 19,000 people, but of those 19,000, only 300 deemed you a good enough leader to follow you back. Why are you following so many people and not very many people are following you? It's kind of a red flag. It's also a red flag that some people might think that you're doing the follow unfollow thing if you're following that many people. So just generally speaking, you want to keep the number of followers you have higher than the number of people you are following.
Thank you. All right, last question, Michael Oman. You got the last one. Reposts have me spinning here. If your industry is a certain niche, say fitness, how do you repost others? I can DM you if there's no time.
Yeah. So Michael, I would really recommend checking out those advanced trainings that we did on the Insta Club Hub, like really explaining all of this in detail. But ultimately, you're reposting other things that are related to your niche. So in the example of home workouts for you, every single thing that we repost there are home workout ideas posted by women. It's literally ideas of how you can work out from home with little to no equipment, and it's all women. So it's clearly identifying and attracting that niche of young women who are working out and need inspiration for home workout ideas. So that's the niche, and it's just finding all of those posts to repost. And that's kind of what those advanced trainings in the Insta Club Hub go more in depth on, is like how to find those posts, how to go about it legally to make sure that you are, taking the right steps to get permission and to get allowance for those posts. But all of that is covered way more in length in those ICH trainings.
All right, we are going to wrap this up. This has been beyond helpful, beyond amazing. From our team, Michael's team, Jess's team, and Nicole, who's been in touch with you. We just want to thank you guys. Guys, tomorrow, check out their live at it's 5 p.m. Eastern time, right? For the Insta Club Hub.
Yep.
And I know some people on here are members, so we're going to be reach out to them to get their referral And definitely want to keep checking in with Brock and following him on Instagram for more tips. And this was incredible. And I know everybody really appreciated it. So thank you for your time. Go enjoy your tacos. And we will talk to you guys later. Good night, everybody.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Brock.
much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.